All right, welcome. We are big on starting on time. So we are starting on time. It is 6 o'clock Mountain Time. I am Vihil Vigil. Welcome to the program. I'm really excited to get started and to let you all know that we are recording the program. So if you'd like to unmute or turn on your video, please just pop in the chat and let me know, and we can get that going for you. Let me start off by sharing the workbook. I want to make sure that you know what you're looking for. And let's see if we can get this to display. Here we go. So welcome to Lifestyle by Design, the masterclass that is going to be hosted over the course of the next 3 days. We have 90 minutes with each other. We may or may not take that amount of time over the course of the masterclass. This is the prelude to the EmpowerU. Let me move this to the EmpowerU biannual retreat. This is something that I have hosted for quite a few years, and it's always so much fun to reach new people and to continue to build this collective environment that we find to be the foundation for the empowerment empire. Please make sure you have downloaded your workbook. Make sure you have a pen to write with, or you have another screen that you can take notes on the PDF. If you have any questions as we go, please do let me know. I have a tendency to fire hose information, so I will pause to make sure that I am not throwing too much information at you all at once. Lifestyle by Design was crafted to take a pause and to step back to see how are we actually living our day-to-day lives versus how we imagine ourselves living our day-to-day lives. So the workbook had the intention of being about 20 pages, and true to form, it has ended up being about 80 pages, with about 75% of that as some really solid content. There are pages to take notes. There are pages for you to note down questions. So as we go through, make sure you sort of bookmark the pages that you can take notes on, other than the workbook in and of itself, which also has pages for you to write on. So you can keep a running tally of your questions or of your comments based on each section. Now, as you will know, the notebook is all the sections all at once. So we will be going through day one and day one, day two and day two, and day three and day three. I will try to maintain absolute focus and intention on that. So you can read ahead after today's program, reread your own notes, review the program in and of itself. I will be sending the recording out to everyone who has registered so you can review it and continue to work through your guidebook. So I'm going to, do I want to stop the share? We'll go ahead and leave it. I know sometimes it's a lot of information to be shared on a screen, but that's okay. You move this. All right. So the 3-day schedule, just to give you an overview. Day one, the foundation, your why and your what. We're going to talk about mindset work, which I'm super big on. We are going to talk about the audit, deconstructing your chaos, and a pathway to design your strategic action plan. One of the big goals to this program is that you are crafting your own plan. And through the course of this, you will walk away with that plan written out for yourself in all of your glory and detail that you infuse into it. So this is for you. So make sure that you are writing down things that are pertinent to your life and how it really resonates and how the content spurs and inspires content. I will not go over my bio. You all can read that, or you can reach out to me. It is in the back of your Masterclass workbook. But as a brief intro, I am Vigil. I'm a women's empowerment business and professional development coach. I have been coaching women for probably let's say the last 15 plus years. I started the Empowerment Empire in 2018 as a necessity of leaving a very tumultuous relationship and starting from ground zero with a 3-year-old. She is now 13 and doing amazing, and the business continues to grow. And I continue to produce programs like this to empower my sisters and to really help you to get past stuck points. So let's go the rest of the schedule. Day 2, we'll talk about the architecture. Day 3, the activation and all of its glory. If you know someone who would really benefit from the program, please share the workbook with them. The QR code here at the bottom of the 3-day schedule is so that you can schedule your coaching call. So what I always do is I provide coaching calls to anyone who attends the programs so that you have the opportunity to have a conversation, to let me know about your experiences, or if you've got something you really want to work through and you want to bounce it off of a coach and your plans, that is what I'm here for. That is the whole goal of the program, is to empower you, to inspire you, to really get you thinking about what life would like if you were to actually design it yourself. So Lifestyle by Design, today is day 1. We are talking about mindset work, the audit, and pathway to your strategic action plan. So we are going to remind you to stand in your power, to sit in your power, to stand in your power, for this 90 minutes, a little bit less, perhaps, depending, give yourself the opportunity to really focus on yourself. We are putting number 1 first here today, which is not something that we always do. I know as a woman who comes from a very matriarchal family, we like to take care of everybody. So in doing so, we oftentimes forget to take care of ourselves. I'm going to stop the share so I can have a better conversation with you, and you have your workbook, so you'll be able to follow along. I'm going to move my screen so I can see both the workbook and my Zoom video all at the same time. Just one moment while I move this around. Okay, there we go. So, personal empowerment mindset work is really about calming the chaos that is behind us, that is constantly with us, to really give ourselves an opportunity to ask, who am I? Who am I? What do I want to bring to my life? What is it that I want to really embrace in my daily activities, in my daily life? So this is a space where I want you to take some time and write down all of the terms and the roles that come to mind in the space below. So for 2 minutes, we'll set a timer, because that is one of the number 1 things that I like to remind people of, is we pay attention to the time in which that we are spending on things. So my 2-minute timer is going. While you write, I will talk. So write down all of the terms and roles that come to mind in the space below for 2 minutes. We have set a timer, and I want you to keep writing until the timer goes off. So when I think of who am I, the first thing I think of is mother, writer, activist, human rights activist, advocate for equality and empowerment. I see myself as a coach. I see myself as a daughter, a world traveler, a United States Navy veteran, someone who loves poetry, someone who loves to read, who loves to design. like to help people think about who they are and what they are doing with themselves on a daily basis. And then I want you to think about the roles that you embrace. We are caregivers. We are workers. We are business owners. We are entrepreneurs. We are digital nomads. We are healthcare professionals. We are business professionals, teachers, instructors. We are deep sea divers. We are runners. We are hikers. All the terms that you think of when you think of yourself. I am an Indigenous woman. I am also a Latina woman. I am also a woman of Croatian descent. I am someone who loves to garden as I stare out of my backyard. I am someone who loves to cultivate ideas and food for people, and oftentimes ideas over food for people. There's our 2 minutes. So your top accomplishments. I have had clients do this in the past. I want you to go ahead and start writing. List the first 10 accomplishments of yours that come to mind. And don't stop writing until you have come to 10. I have asked clients of mine in the past to write down 50 accomplishments in one sitting. And it's harder than you think. We are not used to bragging about ourselves. We are not used to oftentimes touting our own personal glory, the things that we have done. I have run races. I have got a medal for, a speech that I gave. Not that these are necessarily my actual things, but as examples. I joined the Navy when I was 17 years old. I commanded a Spruance class destroyer when I was in the Navy. I was a master helmswoman and the smallest person and the only lady at the time to do it. I graduated with my bachelor's degree thanks to my parents and the Navy College Fund. I put myself through my master's program, through my PMP program, my project management certification program. I've moved all around and successfully reestablished myself. Like, if you see all of the different accomplished or areas of accomplishment that you can draw out, I want you to think about those. I want you to think about things that you are proud of that you might not talk about on a daily basis or on a regular basis or ever. At the bottom of the workbook page, I list some ideas to get you thinking. What are you known for? Are your friends like, oh, yes, this person is super amazing at making enchiladas, pizzas? Are you a great breakfast cook? Are you a great organizer? What is it that you bring to your environment? Write those things down. Are you super organized? Do you make the best pie? Like, can you detail a car or a motorcycle? That was one of my jobs in college, was to detail Harleys. And it was amazing. Are you the go-to person when someone needs help? Whether it is small or whether it is grand, who are you by what you are known for in this section here? So the next page of day one focus, personal empowerment mindset work, stand in your power. I want you to start asking yourself, what is the next thing? What are the next things that I want to accomplish? You can finish this part of the homework as we move on to the next section. You could do it afterwards as well. On the following pages to the day one exercise, I ask you to list out 10 qualities I'm proud to embody. We've listed accomplishments. We have listed things that we are known for. We have written down who we think we are. Who do we present ourselves to the world as? And on the following pages, I asked you to really expand upon those things. So you're listing out 10 qualities of you First, you write out the quality, the trait, the element, the essence that you see in yourself. Then I want you to go back to number 1 after you write down the 10, and I want you to describe in detail about how you embody this characteristic. This is for you. You don't have to share this with anyone. You don't have to share it with me on your coaching call if you don't want to. This homework is for you. How do you see yourself? What is it about this characteristic or this trait that makes you feel really proud of who you are and what you have accomplished? So write down in the spaces, of which there are 10, the one-liner of the quality, the trait, the element, or the essence that you see in yourself. And then once you've written all 10 down, go back to number 1 and start describing in detail how you embody this characteristic. Show yourself in all of your amazingness, all of your accomplished glory. This is your brag book. Because we don't do this. We don't do this very often. It's talking about yourself or bragging about yourself. It's seen as bad. And in some ways, and in some places, it can definitely be seen as that. But when you are needing to stand in your own power, we need to remind ourselves of who we are, what we have been through, what we have accomplished, what we have pulled ourselves out of, how we have thrown ourselves out into the world. And we did it based on our own desire with the help of those who love us or maybe inspire us, sisters, brothers, parents, partners, leaders, teachers, mentors. I think it's so important that when we start a program that is to propel us towards a successful life, that we take pause and we recognize ourselves for what we have done thus far. Because if you're here and you're listening to this, it's not because you thought, oh, this might be fun. I mean, maybe it is, but it's also because you realize the underlying essence of the intention for Lifestyle by Design. We build our foundations by understanding who we are now so that we can then understand what are some of the areas of my life and my personality that I can shift so that I can redesign the way that I live on a regular basis. And you have to start with what you know so that you can shift and move and change and grow. After you write down the qualities, the nuances of who you are and how you feel about those things, in a small section after the 10th block, I ask you to now write down how you feel about the acknowledgement of your great qualities. Is it uncomfortable? Is it something that you don't want to share because you don't want to have a brag book out there? Are you proud of what you have accomplished in your life thus far? I hope you are. I hope that you see from when you were young enough to start realizing who you are and the way you wanted to be and live and the person you wanted to be seen as and recognized for and know who you are inside to today. How do you feel about the acknowledgement of those qualities? That's always an interesting journal prompt after we have designed our brag books, talked about our accomplishments and all of the awesome things that we have done. How do you feel about it? And write it down. This is for you. Next, we're going to talk about the audit. I like to call this deconstructing the chaos. And if you're following along on the PDF, this is page 19, deconstructing the chaos. In this section, we are explicitly calling out that to deconstruct the current daily chaos, we need to explore the systems to move you from a reactive state to a proactive one. We will go into 3 of my high impact suggestions tailored for busy professionals in our schedules. Busy moms, busy professionals, busy students, the busyness of our lives. My 3 favorite high impact suggestions for balancing this and deconstructing whatever chaos our lives bring to us is number 1, the brilliantly simple 3-3-3 method for daily structure. Number 2, and we will go through these in the following workbook pages. Number 2 is implement time blocking in tandem with your to-do lists. I absolutely love time blocking and habit stacking, and we'll talk about those in a minute. And then number 3, establish a shutdown evening ritual for the night before you're doing anything the following day. So essentially, every night, what is your shutdown evening ritual? So chaos often begins the moment you wake up because you haven't decided what matters yet. A shutdown ritual helps you to end the current day with clarity for the next. It's like, I'm going to go work out in the morning. So the night before, I'm going to set out my gym clothes. So all I need to do is roll out of bed, throw on the workout clothes, strap on my tennis shoes, head out the door, or come downstairs and jump on the treadmill. I set myself up for success because I intentionally pre-plan for what's to come. And then the daily review. Spend 10 minutes at the end of your workday reflecting on what was accomplished and what needs to be moved to tomorrow. I love my scheduling. I talk about the daily power planner and how it is broken down into hourly sections. And I do this because I like to accomplish a lot in my days. I have a household to run. I have a very active 13-year-old. I have to make meals for us because I love to. We try to cook nice, healthy meals in home on a regular basis. We have to prep lunches and breakfast for the next morning. And by having a daily review, you realize, okay, these are the things I wanted to accomplish that I did. And this one thing I was not able to. So we intentionally pause and we put it into our calendar for tomorrow. Be sure to accomplish this task. And you put it to the top of the list. Set your one thing. This is big. Identify the single most important task that you want to make the next day a success of when you complete it. So having this anchor of the one thing, it helps to prevent you from falling into the reaction mode. Like you immediately check emails when you wake up. You immediately start scrolling socials or looking at various things that are not really focused on simply waking up and stretching and maybe going for a quick walk. For me, it's come downstairs, fix my coffee or my tea, let the dog out, feed the dog, get breakfast ready. Like if I were to, as soon as I open my eyes, start scrolling on socials or checking my emails, it would distract me from my predetermined success plan, which gets myself and my daughter out the door every day because we have planned for it that way. It helps to calm the chaos when you're pre-planning. So I digress. Let's go back to the 3-3-3 method for daily structure. This framework was super popularized by Oliver Burkeman. He provides a very clear hierarchy for your workday to prevent the feelings of being spread too thin. Because there's always things that we can load into our day. So simply put, this works for your workday elements, but is also brilliantly useful in our everyday lives. For those of us who manage the household, the children, the spouses, the volunteer activities, pets, events, etc., simply put, 3 hours of deep work. Dedicate your first 3 hours or your highest energy block of your day to your most important thing. Your most important intellectually demanding project. I like to also pre-plan the night before my deep work focus activities, like for certain projects and for certain tasks. When you pre-plan, the deep work is much more productive. This time can also be used as pre-planning for your next project as well. I mean, you're not going to wake up in the morning and just say, oh, I think I'm going to go bake a cake. But wait, I don't have any ingredients. We are stacking the deck in our favor by making sure we have all the ingredients so that when we do execute whatever plan or task or project, we have everything we need. And we don't have to stop and pause and redirect and, oh, I got to go get this, or I got to go get that, or I need to go research this. We pre-gather, we pre-research, we pre-buy the ingredients. And it might seem obvious, but sometimes we don't intentionally do it. And it leads into that roller coaster of the chaos, and it starts letting the noise dictate your actions as opposed to you pre-planning and being not reactive, but being, proactive in the way that you operate. The next one, 3 urgent tasks. So the first one is 3 hours of deep work and then 3 urgent tasks. Complete 3 smaller urgent tasks that require less mental intensity. These types of items I know I can accomplish quickly if I give them my fully focused attention. And I want them completed quickly due to their urgency. This is not a crash course in, I have a big project due tomorrow, so I'm going to cram all night long and get it done. No, this is 3 tasks that are of a greater urgency that you can whip out with speed, but really with a great little accuracy. So we're not rushing through things and doing them halfway. We are quickly completing a task that we already have the skills and the tools to accomplish efficiently, effectively, and accurately. And then the third is maintenance tasks. Finish with 3 administrative tasks to close your loops, such as clearing your inbox. I know none of us have less than 200 emails in our inboxes. If you do, bless your heart. I'm working towards that. I want to be you when I grow up. So finish 3 administrative tasks to close the loops, such as clearing your inbox, planning for the following day, clean up your workspace, put things away. I mean, it's something so simple that we learned at a very young age. My daughter had a cleanup song for it when she was in preschool. Whatever we have taken out for the day and we have worked on, let's make sure to put it away, clean it up, close the loop, and leave our workspaces clean. So that when you come in the next day, your workspace is ready for you. When you come into the kitchen first thing in the morning so you can whip up breakfast and make your coffee or your tea, the kitchen is clean and you don't have to pause, do the work that should have been done, and then you get to your task. So you pre-plan. I'm going to cook at 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. Before I go to bed tonight, that kitchen needs to be clean. Sometimes we don't realize the simplicity of these tasks until they bring chaos into our next day. So I like to do these steps at the end of every day. I also do this weekly on Sundays, Sunday evenings, and then monthly on the final week of the month, and then quarterly at power planning sessions. I am a big planner, hence the 500-page power planning daily planner for women who realize maybe they need to write some things down to keep themselves organized because we manage so much. It doesn't say less of you in any way that you need to write down your tasks, and it's quite gratifying to check off that list as you are accomplishing your tasks. It's giving yourself grace to have the opportunity to pause and look at what you've accomplished, what might need to be rescheduled to tomorrow or looks like we paused there for a minute. There we go. So give yourself the grace of being prepared. Then let's go into the audit. Time blocking. Time blocking will be your saving grace. Implement time blocking in conjunction with preparing your to-do lists. Static to-do lists can be super overwhelming because they don't account for when work actually happens. Time blocking assigns every task a specific home on your calendar. This has been a favorite skill of mine that I love sharing with my Empowerment Empire clients. Time blocking and habit stacking are a true means to accomplishing everything that you plan for. And I think one of the key words in that is plan for. So for example, when I habit stack something, I'm already doing one thing. What can I stack on top of that habit, fixing my coffee or my tea, so that I can accomplish them together? One thing I'm already used to doing, the other thing I need to get used to doing. So let's stack them. And as I am waiting for my French press or waiting for my tea to cool down enough for me to drink it, I am doing something that needs to happen at the same time, like feeding the dog. Simple examples, but I think you understand the gist of it all. And then estimate and assign. Estimate how long each task on your list is going to take you and physically block that time in a digital tool like your Google Calendar or your physical planner. Once you complete the task, make a note of your estimation accuracy to be able to adjust or to continue the plan for future reference. Now, when I initially teach people this, they're like, oh my gosh, that is too much. That is micromanaging my life. Yes, I guess you could say that it would be. But do it for about the first week. Do it for 2 weeks. Try it for 30 days. Monday through Friday, really look at what you think it's going to take you to accomplish this said task and what it actually takes you. It's a really nice mirror to gauge your accuracy. Am I actually being realistic in how long it takes me to accomplish something? Transition time. Intentionally schedule 10 to 15 minutes of a buffer on your calendar or in your planners to allow yourself the grace to transition. If you run a back-to-back schedule, you are constantly going from this meeting to this meeting to this meeting, and you have no time to breathe. Maybe you need a bio break. Maybe you need to get some water. Maybe you need to refill your tea. Maybe you just need to stand up and get a breath of fresh air for 5 minutes before your next meeting. If you're scheduling hour to hour, minute to minute, you don't give yourself that grace of pause. And so you're not able to close up your current set of thoughts, plan out what needs to happen from that meeting, and then prepare for your next task. I think we get so used to running so quickly from task to task to task that we don't realize what we're losing. We are losing our ability to follow up thoroughly. We are losing the fun tasks, the fun work or thoughts that came out of the time that we spent hyper-focusing on a task because we transition so fast. We don't give ourselves the grace of saying, okay, now that I've had this great conversation with someone, what do I need to do with it? Do I need to do anything with it? Do I need to schedule them in for another meeting next week? What is it that we need to do to close the loop before you move on? So batch similar work. This is my habit stacking. And I think I shared this example already. Combining similar activities into a 30-minute block to minimize the cognitive cost of switching focus between different types of tasks. I'm going to be on the left side of my house doing a couple of things, and then I'm going to run over to the upside or right side of my house, or I'm going to go upstairs to do something else. When instead, When we are in a physical space, let's do all of the things that need to be done there. Or if we are working on the accounting or the financial records of our businesses or of our personal budgeting and planners, are we thoroughly completing that project, or are we stopping halfway through to go do dishes or to do something else? Let's intentionally focus our efforts, and it keeps the chaos at bay. It keeps you from running, from left to right all the time, when you could intentionally focus on, this is what I'm accomplishing right now, and something is going to come up, and you let that sit to the side until you have accomplished what you've set, and then you transition. So the evening shutdown ritual. Consider your current shutdown evening ritual. What do you do? Do you have a nighttime ritual? Do you have a routine for your evening, for your professional life, and for your personal life? Perhaps consider your household evening rituals or routines, what they currently look like. What do you currently do? And then think about, do my mornings run in a chaotic manner, or do they run smoothly? On page 24 of the day one focus, the audit, it simply asks, are your mornings chaotic or do they run smoothly? And write in there how you currently see it on a consistent basis. And then write down, how would your ideal morning routine flow if everything went according to plan? When we actually write these things down and we actually take the opportunity to see what it is that we are currently doing and what it is that we think that we are doing, it definitely allows a lot more uh, accomplishment to take place. It looks like I started to echo for some reason. Okay, I think that's better now. Yeah, there we go. So to digress, when we are looking at our daily view, when we are considering what it is that our days look like, when we think about our ideal morning routine and our ideal evening ritual, does that add up? Does that coincide with reality? Does that coincide with what we are actually doing? It's okay if it's not. Um, Chaos often begins the moment you wake up because you haven't decided what matters yet. A shutdown ritual helps you to end your current day with clarity and with a moment for planning for the next. When we rush to shut our computer, just slam the screen down, we don't tidy things up. When we step back in the next time we open up the laptop, we have to fix things. We have to re-log in or readjust or close all these things down. We're not able to open up our workspaces and get right to task because we have to still clean up from the night before. Now, granted, that will happen, but let's not make it the norm. Let's make it the rarity. It will help us keep our sanity if we help ourselves by staying up on our daily routines. And start tomorrow. Like, don't beat yourself up over the fact that, oh my God, my life is chaos and I'm always running from A to B and I'm always late, I'm always doing this. Okay, yes, and that is no longer the case. Starting today, you wrap up your evening, set yourself intentions for tomorrow so that when you do wake up, you have a clear vision of what you know you want your morning to look like, what you know you want your day to look like, and see what happens. By intentionally closing out the work that we're doing for today, we are intentionally setting ourselves up for success for tomorrow. So add into your calendars, like take this time right now to add into your calendars 10 minutes at the end of every work day, or last 10 minutes during your office or at the job. If you can't leave the job until you clock out, then clock out and go sit outside for 10 minutes before you jump in your car to start the commute home, or you turn off the computer to end your day. Give yourself 10 minutes to tidy up your workspace, to clean your environment. And what this does is it helps to signal to your brain that the workday is over. It reduces your cognitive overload when you return the next morning, so that when you do come in the next morning, things are clean, they are ready for you. You don't have to always clean up from the night before. I mean, we have all been there. What is it that you are finding you are currently doing that is constantly dragging you back? Let's call that out. Let's write that down. And then you put a big old X over top of it. And I literally have my clients do this. The thing that keeps dragging you down, you write it down and you cross it out, and you literally tell yourself, this is no longer going to be me. This is no longer how I am going to function and operate, because I am changing. I am redesigning my lifestyle with intention and with purpose, because I don't want to do that anymore. I do this for myself on a pretty consistent basis. I try to pause and reflect. How did the last 30 days go? What was chaotic about my month that I could intentionally do something about, so I don't continue to carry that into the next month and the next month and the next month, etc. So on one of the next step pages in our workbook, this one is on page 25. I want you to consider what we have talked about. And like I said, you will have to send me notes and let me know if I have fire hosed you with information or if this was a good pace. Consider all that you have learned once you completed the first day one set of exercises for Lifestyle by Design, this 3-day masterclass for success. Once you have literally gone back to complete those pages, in the spaces of the journal, literally take the time to write down your responses to questions, to go back and to fill in the 10 amazing things of your personality or your traits or your accomplishments. You will get the most out of this experience by embracing the experience and just trying out the suggested journal prompt writing exercises. Just see what it does. On page 25, in next steps, I ask you to consider all that you have learned once you've completed all of the workbook pages for this section. In the space below, journal your overarching thoughts on this, what your experience was, and feel free to share them with me. I always love to ask attendees of my master classes and of my programs to send me an email with your thoughts. It helps me to not only understand how you're receiving the information that I provide, but also helps me to assist you in finding solutions that will help you with, in this section, to calm the chaos and to really focus on setting yourself up for success. There's another QR code where you can grab a coaching call. In the Masterclass notes page on 26 and the Masterclass questions for a coaching call, whether you decide to book a coaching call or not with me, have questions written down that maybe you can talk over with your partner, with your mentor, with a coach you already have, with someone that you trust that you can bounce these questions off of. Share some of your experiences and some of your self-reflection with somebody that you trust. I know for me, it's a big eye opener because sometimes I think, oh, I've got this. This is the way I'm thinking. I'm going to write it all down and this is what it is. But when I have someone that I really trust and who really knows me, take a look at what I have put together, I'm able to get some really good positive feedback and sometimes very good constructive criticism, like, Vihil, you probably need to add more time to your morning. Or, you know what, that's a great question. Let's dive in deeper into that. So you will benefit from this program with as much effort. The more effort you put into learning about yourself, the way you currently manage your life, the current chaos that you experience, so that you can stand in your power, you can own your stuff and say, you know what? Yes, that is a trait that I'd like to no longer exhibit. And let's call that out, write it down, put an X over it, so that moving into day 2, moving into day 3, you're coming in with open eyes. You're coming in with a very clear vision of where you are realistically and where you plan to go. Because this is all about designing your lifestyle, how you want it to be, not the cards that you felt you might have been dealt, not a situation that you feel trapped within. There are a lot of resources that are out there for any individual who is willing to raise your hand and say, I need some help with this. And I know how hard it is to ask for help. I have definitely been in that position. It is not something that is easy. There's embarrassment or shame or fear of trusting someone. That is why we reach out to trusted resources, counselors, coaches, mentors, people that we admire, that we trust, that are trustworthy, that we can really sit back and reflect on and share. I am crafting a lifestyle for myself. I am designing a lifestyle for myself that I want to live that might be different from what I'm currently doing. Or maybe it's fairly similar to what I'm currently doing, but I want to just shift it a little bit. What do you think about this? It's really important, I think, that we allow ourselves to do that. Okay, I know this is a lot of information, and I will not admit that it isn't because it is a lot of information, which is why I produce the workbook so that you have a chance to really to dig into it after I fire hose you with all kinds of content. So the next part of the day 1 focus is the pathway. A pathway design to a strategic action plan. And this is on page 28. And I think this might be the last part. Yeah, this is our last section, and it's a pretty good one. It's very solid. This is action focused. So the first 2 parts to day 1 are really holding up the mirror, thinking about and writing about who you are today. Who you are today, what are you doing today, what kind of shift you want to make, standing in your power, deconstructing the chaos, and then now let's start to forge that pathway forward. So this page 28 of the PDF, a pathway design to a strategic action plan. So page 30, what is a strategic action plan pathway? It's a lot of words. Essentially, we are defining clear goals and a clear direction to go in. Earlier today, I published on our Empowerment Empire YouTube channel, one of my signature talks. And it really is all about breaking down what it is that we currently do in the analogy of steering a ship, which I love the analogy because as a 17, 18, 19-year-old, I was steering a ship. And I use that analogy to really talk about your ship as a whole. The hull of the ship is your foundation. Your crew is your community. Your engine is based on your momentum and your fuel. How are you propelling yourself forward? So this is sort of the first part of how we propel ourselves forward in this 3-day masterclass. A strategic action plan pathway involves defining clear, measurable goals, conducting analysis, and translating those into tangible, timed tasks with assigned responsibilities. A lot of words. Essentially, we are going to be defining where you want to go and how you are going to get there and what you need to successfully propel yourself to your destination. The roadmap bridges thoughtful strategy and execution by establishing your key performance indicators. And if you're in business, you know this is KPIs. By looking at your resources, what do you need? And setting up regular review milestones to adjust your actions. So in other words, define your pathway for your ideas to become your reality. And sometimes your pathway has to shift. So phase 1 is to diagnose and set your goals. Phase 2 is to break down the details of your action plan. Break down bigger goals into smaller tasks so that you can take one step at a time as you're walking down your own yellow brick road to get to that destination. Phase 3 is your implementation and evaluation of what's working, what's not working for you. And there are bullet points underneath those 3 headings that I will let you sit with and absorb. But I want to touch base on the key components of your action plan. And on the next page, you start to make those decisions. So remember, detailed tasks will help you to create concrete steps to achieving your goal. If we are taking that dart and we're just throwing it against the wall, it may hit the bullseye, but most oftentimes it won't. So you have to know what you're aiming for. And to know what you're aiming for, you have to call it out and say, this is what I'm aiming for. Own it. Call it out. Say it is yours. And aim for it. Defining clear ownership of the actions that need to happen for you to design the lifestyle that you truly want to lead are so especially helpful when you're determining what you need and what you can delegate out and what no longer serves you. Your resources, look at what is it going to financially cost you to do something? What are the tools that you're going to need to accomplish the thing? And what are some outside resources that you can seek and embrace and embody and ask for that will help you along your pathway? When you are realizing that you are choosing to shift your path, you are realizing you will need tools and what those tools look like and consist of. And then how you put them together matters. So you could have a bunch of building blocks, and if you just stack them all together, it could look very fun and creative, but you're not going to build the Eiffel Tower. You're going to build something, but it might not necessarily be exactly what you intended. So if you want your outcome to very much so resemble your intention, you have to design your pathway forward. So page 31, to take action, now you make decisions. We have built you up We have talked about deconstructing your chaos. We have talked about habit stacking and time planning and giving yourself the grace of pause. So now, to take action, you want to define your top goal for the next 12 months. What is the number one thing, as opposed to designing my life to be better? What does that look like? The more specific that you can get, the more realistic it's going to be that you are going to hit your target. If you're just kind of up in the air about maybe this or maybe that, you might still hit your destination, but maybe not in the most strategic manner that you could have. And in the process, maybe wasted resources, maybe wasted time, wasted money, not benefiting from particular opportunities that were only available at certain times. So list out anything that needs to go. Routines, habits, appointments, delays, reroutes, anything that you want to be rid of. And write it down in those spaces below your big goal. So that when you're looking at this, and you can do this page for multiple goals, but let's just start with one. So that when you're looking at your top goal, you are also seeing below it the things that are getting in the way of you accomplishing that goal, and you cross them out. Maybe not scratch them out so much so you can't read them, but definitely give them a good line through them or a good X over top so that you can remind yourself, these things are holding me back from accomplishing and moving forward. Then get yourself a new Lifestyle by Design journal. It does not have to be my monster 500-page power planner, which is quite useful because there are project pages within it. But get you something that you can use to write in as a daily personal check-in that you can add calendar appointments to pause and reflect on this new pathway to your new lifestyle that you are committing to craft for yourself. And then at each personal check-in with yourself, I am setting an appointment on my calendar so that I can spend 10 minutes reviewing my day and pre-planning for the next day. Literally add it into your calendar. So an alarm goes off and you're like, oh, I need to focus. I need to have my reflective personal check-in, I like to call it. So set your daily personal check-in calendar appointment so that you can pause and reflect on your new pathway to your new lifestyle. At each personal check-in with yourself, ask yourself the following and literally write the answers to each question in every day. And I challenge you to do this for a minimum of 30 days in your new journal. Number one, where am I on my pathway? Where am I? Am I on track? Am I falling behind? Am I ahead of schedule? Am I rerouting a little bit? Where are you? And then what have I accomplished? Literally write down your accomplishments that you have done that are in line with accomplishing this big goal. And then write down what is next on the pathway. If you don't know where you're going next, you don't have intentional trajectory. You have sort of flightiness. We'll just kind of see what happens. But if you truly are destined and if you truly are determined to intentionally design your lifestyle the way you envision it, this is what it takes. It takes intention. It takes intentional living. What is next on your path? Write down what it is that you need to accomplish next based on what you have currently done today or yesterday, etc. And then in a brief journal prompt, these are the things I have let go and changed. And I always recommend, what have you benefited from it? Like what has happened that is better than before when you were holding on to these things that you needed to let go? There are a couple of pages about writing in your top goals. make sure that you utilize the opportunity to write these down for yourselves. This is all for you. Your success in this venture is how much time you give it and how much dedication you have to designing your lifestyle. Remember to design and define your purpose. Establish a clear vision for what you want. Now, when I say define your purpose, maybe not in the whole grand scheme of life, but maybe your purpose of intention for living a more determined lifestyle. How do you want your life to look in 12 months by intentionally focusing on the design of it? Why do you want to accomplish these stated goals? This really goes back to, I think, one of the ultimate foundations of why do you want this? Why do you want this? And literally write it down. With your why, what will it give you? Yes, I want to live a more organized life. Why? So that I am more intentional, I am less chaotic, I have more free time because I know how to schedule in my calendar. So I give myself the free time that I very much so need and deserve after working hard all week, et cetera, et cetera. And set your objectives for each goal, for each day. Make sure that you are being specific in what it is that you want to accomplish. Make sure that you're being realistic. Are you in a space to accomplish this said goal? And if you are not, then let's talk about how to get you there. Make sure that the goals that you are wanting to work on are really relevant to where you are now and where you want to be in a measured amount of time, 12 months, 6 months, etc. Make sure you are writing SMART goals, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. On page 33, I list out for you the daily power planner and how you can order it. You can get it off of Amazon. And then the project management workbook pages. It's a snippet of what is actually in the book. So if you go to the next page, I've made it much larger. And this is how, as a project manager, we project manage for life. So we do this for work, for business, for the Empowerment Empire, but then I also do this for personal life. Here is the project, the goal I want to accomplish. These are all the tasks that are going to be required of me to accomplish this goal. And here are some subtasks that are going to roll up to that. So the big goal, smaller steps, smaller tasks, subtasks. So just a way to really look at, we're not going to accomplish the big goal tomorrow. We are going to take small steps to get us to great big change. With grace and patience with ourselves, we will get there, but you have to continue to be intentional and focused and know where you're going. So let's devise that map so you know your pathway. And this is just an example of how I like to break down larger tasks, larger projects into tasks and subtasks, or sub goals and big accomplishments. And then I ask you to consider what you have learned about this part. So the audit of the shutdown evening ritual, I ask you, think about what you learned and write it down. The pathway design to a strategic action plan, after we go through all of details, reread page 30. Take some time with that page. That is your pathway design. That is the meat and potatoes of your plan. This is where you start. As you fill in the worksheets on page 31 and 32, and then ultimately 34, you're able to start looking at your defined goals for the month, for the quarter, for the first 6 months of the year. I mean, it's very much so getting close to summer. So, what did you think you wanted to have accomplished by then? What do you want to accomplish by December of this year? What is a big goal that you're aiming for next year? If we don't have the foresight to look ahead and a plan for what it is that we want to accomplish, we are not guaranteed to get there. Are we guaranteed to get there with a plan? No, nothing is 100% guarantee in life, I don't think, except for some things. But it gives you this pathway. It gives you the map so that you know where you're going. You're not just throwing the dart against the wall, hoping to hit the bullseye. You are aiming for that bullseye with the right kind of tools and the motivation and the clarity of thought, because you've given yourself the time to learn to do this. It is absolutely up to you on how you take the information that you now have at your fingertips in a full 81 pages of a workbook that was designed to be 50, because I had to give you opportunities for reflection and for thought and to journal this experience, because I really want you to take from this everything that I have tried to put into it and more. Consider all that you have learned. Consider all of the information that has been provided here in day one of Lifestyle by Design, and take the next 30 minutes, because the program is designed for 90, intentionally so we could spend roughly an hour going over the material. And the last 30 minutes, because you are still in the class, you will sit with yourself and go through all of the workbook pages. Give yourself the gift and the grace of the next, 28 minutes that will get us to the half hour, to focus on rereading the pages in the workbook, following the design, answering the questions. And once you have completed everything for today, have the foresight to maybe look ahead, to pre-plan for tomorrow. Because tomorrow we'll be devising the architecture, the power plan, and then talk about prioritization methods and your perfect week schedule. So be sort of thinking about those things once you have wrapped up all of your writing for today. I know that is a lot. And I hope that you really have enjoyed all of this information as much as I have really enjoyed giving it to you. And I hope that you don't see it as overwhelming. Because remember, any great accomplishment isn't done all at once. It's done by laying a foundation and then slowly building on that so that you can intentionally move forward with, with your own pace, by laying the bricks in a way that's nice and stable for you to keep stepping and keep climbing. Give yourself the opportunity to try something new, to experience the life by design, because you want to make this shift. So in this free opportunity, with my workbook and my experiences and what I have seen work for clients, what I have seen work for myself, and for so many other women who were just looking for a lifestyle shift, to make sure that they're not just living the rat race. They are truly crafting their lifestyle by design. They are intentionally living their truth, their goals, their focus. And they're willing to let go of the things that no longer serve them. That maybe this lifestyle or this experience or this attribute was fun at a certain point in time, but you have bigger things to focus on. You get to craft a lifestyle that you truly want to live, because it's time. And if you feel that way, then I think you are definitely in the right place. And if there's anyone in your life that you're like, they could really benefit from this, please feel free to share the workbook with them. I am putting it out there into the world for free because I think it's such important information to share. You can send them over to the women'sempowermentcoach.us website, which is my primary website. And there's a ton of free resources there, as well as right on the front page, about halfway down, they can download the Masterclass Workbook. Even if they decide not to attend, at least they can have some tools to get them moving in that direction. I am going to end the class 20 minutes early, but you stay in your seat and continue to focus and work through your workbook pages, and then neatly fold up your evening, get a great night's rest, and plan for seeing me tomorrow evening in Lifestyle by Design, our free 3-day masterclass. Have a wonderful evening, and I look forward to seeing you all again tomorrow.